Today we're going to be installing the Extreme Metal Products front bumper on the Can-Am Commander. As you can see here, I've done a lot of the preliminary work of getting the front bumper off, but I'm going to go ahead and discuss to you how I did that, and then we're going to discuss how to install the front bumper using the stock XT winch from the Can-Am Commander. So as you can see here, I've got the tools laid out of what you're going to need in order to install this, and it's very few tools that you're going to need, but some of them I want to explain to you so that you make sure that you have them in your toolbox handy. Of course, you're going to need simple needle nose pliers, a ratchet with a 9/16 inch socket, maybe a 9/16 inch wrench, 13 millimeter wrenches or sockets will work just as fine. You're going to need a 10 millimeter wrench. You're going to need a drill with a 3/16 inch drill bit, or something very close, something real equivalent to that. It doesn't have to be exact. You're going to need a 3/8 inch socket or a drill driver of some kind in order to install the two self-tapping screws that you're going to need later on, and we'll explain that later. And then a couple of the specialty tools that you might need, which really aren't all that special, but you're going to need a couple of hex head wrenches, drivers, something of that nature, 4 millimeter and an 8 millimeter. That's in order to get the stock winch off. And then in order to get the stock bumper off, you're going to need a T40 and a T30 Torx head bit. Any kind of bit will work, but just T30 and T40 is the sizes you're going to need. So how I got this started is I went ahead and removed the front bumper on the XT. I started with a couple of T40 bolts. There's 4 of them here on this front bumper. Once you remove those 4, the front bumper will come off, no problem. Let me put that to the side. Okay, the next thing that you're going to need to get off is the plastic shroud. The plastic shroud comes off with 6 different T30 bolts, very easy to find. There's 2 on the bottom, there's 2 right here in the middle, and then once you get up underneath it, you'll find 2 more hidden on the back side that you're going to need to get off as well. Those 6 T30 bolts then will you'll be able to remove the front shroud. But actually there's one other thing that you're going to have to remove before the front shroud will come off, and that is the fairlead bracket for the stock XT winch. Now if you don't have a stock winch, you won't need to worry about that, but this bracket will hold the shroud onto the XT. So you've got to get that off of there. And once you do that, you'll have all of this exposed. Okay, you'll have the front of your Commander exposed. The last thing that you've got to remove as part of the process here is you've got to get the stock XT winch mount off up here. Okay, so once you get that out, you've got those 3 components out, you're ready to continue on with the assembly of your bumper, of your Extreme Metal Products bumper. Now because I'm going to relocate the stock winch, from its mount down here, and I'm going to mount it up here onto the EMP bumper, what you've got to do is you've got to extend the 2 stock leads that come attached to your XT winch. I went down to the local battery store. I got a couple of these 12-inch extensions, which should give me plenty of extension to get up here to the bumper. I've gone ahead and taped them off with some insulation tape so that they're all nice and safe, and then make sure that you keep track here of which side's blue and which side's yellow, because that's going to come in important later when you install the winch. Okay, so now that I've shown you all that, let's go ahead and focus on the EMP bumper. Okay, the next thing we're going to look at here is we're going to look at the Extreme Metal Products bumper itself. What it comes with is, you can see here, the main bumper assembly, which is this here. Okay, it's pretty solidly built. It's powder coated in a flat black or a satin black finish. Has the EMP logo etched right into the front of the bumper there. It also comes with this bash plate here, very nicely done. Again, still made out of the same heavy-duty material that the EMP bumper is made out of, finished with the black satin coat. It has a cutout here in the middle of the bash plate, which allows you access to your tow hook, the stock tow hook on the Commander. So that's a neat little feature they got going there. And then of course it's going to come with a couple of brackets. I've got one here, got all the hardware set in that mounting bracket there, and I've gone ahead and I've already mounted the other bracket here on the Commander, as you can see, and we'll explain that in just a second. One of the things that you're going to need to do with your bumper is, if you're going to be installing a winch, make sure that you order the fairlead bracket that mounts the fairlead roller here, the fairlead bracket onto your bumper. You're going to need that in order to put this on, so make sure you order that if you're going to be installing a winch. As you can see, there's lots of different mounting holes here for the different size winches that are available out there on the market, so no worries about getting your winch mounted up onto this bumper. Okay, so as I said here, I've gone ahead and I've done one side of the bracket here, and I'll show you what I did. It's real simple. All you need to do is you need to take your drill with your 3/16 inch drill bit, and you're going to drill out two holes here. Okay, the holes already have the nuts mounted on the back side of them, or welded to the back side, so you need to drill those out to fit the nuts and the bolts that come with your EMP front bumper. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and I've pre-drilled both of these out. An inch. Okay, real simple there. And so now that I've got those two drilled out, I will use the hardware that came with the EMP front bumper to install the other side of the bracket. So what I'll do is I'll take a couple of the bolts here. Okay, I'll work them in through the holes back here and through the holes that I drilled. Okay, it's going to be a little bit tricky to do that, but take your time, get them installed, and then we'll mount this other bracket. Okay, now I've got these two bolts through the holes that I just drilled out. You just take your bracket, you're going to line it up right there and right there. Okay, and you're going to grab a couple of your bolts here, excuse me, your nuts, put it onto the bolts. I'm just going to get them hand tight for now, and then I'll tighten them up with my 9/16 wrench and get them real tight. We're getting ready to install the front bumper onto those brackets that we just did. But before we do that, I wanted to show you that I went ahead and installed the stock XT winch, or you can install any winch of your choosing, onto this front bumper. In order to do that, as I mentioned earlier in the video, make sure that you have the bracket here in order to install this roller assembly. This fairlead bracket is available from EMP, so if you're going to be installing a winch, you're going to need that. I used all of the existing hardware to install the winch and the bracket. As you can see, it was real easy. It was just 4 bolts mounted right here to the back. Okay, it was the existing hardware, and I used that hex bit that I showed you earlier for you to use that, for you to install that. Excuse me. So now we've got to get this bumper installed onto those brackets. And in order to do that, you're going to need 6 of the carriage bolts and the nuts that came included in the kit. And it's real simple. You set it up on here. You line it up. You're going to put 2 here, 2 of those carriage bolts here. You're going to put 2 here, and then there's 2 more located right up here on top. One other thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get the self-tapping screws that came in your kit. And you're going to use your 3/8 inch socket drill driver, and you're going to install those into the bumper, through the bumper, into the frame, in 2 little spots that are right here underneath the hood. So you're going to have to take your hood off in order to get to those, but you can do that. Just take that off and drill them right in. And if you're using a drill driver, you won't need anything else because they're self-tapping. So let me get those 6 bolts installed, and then we'll continue on with the installation. So I've got the front bumper installed using the 8 different bolts and screws that we talked about. I've got the 6 carriage bolts installed here, 2 in this side, 2 in the front on that side, 2 on top, which you can't see. And then I've also installed the self-tapping screws that I talked about, which go right up underneath here. That's the first part of this installation so far, is getting to those self-tapping screws in order to install those. But we're almost on the home stretch here. One thing that I did do is I went ahead and I routed the wires up to the winch. So I got the winch wires installed here. Put those on while I still had access, because the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to install the bash plate. The bash plate is real easy to install. You just install it with 4 different bolts that they supply, the bolts and the carriage bolts and the screws that they supply. And in order to do that, you're going to need your drill and your 3/16" drill bit again. And what you're going to do is you're going to drill out 2 of the holes down here at the bottom. You can see that they come stock with the self-tapping or the threaded screw inserts. Go ahead and drill those out and install the bolts that come with your kit. So I'm going to get that installed real quick, and we should be pretty much done. That should complete the installation process.
There it is. I've completed the installation of the Extreme Metal Products front bumper on my 2011 Can-Am Commander XT. I've relocated the winch to the bumper there, and it looks great. But I've also included some pictures here that will show you what the bumper looks like without the winch installed. Either way, with or without the winch, it's a fantastic bumper and it looks great. Another quality product from Extreme Metal Products.